is how Cheryl Reeve was very standoffish to Caitlin Clark's arrival, very dismissive to Caitlin Clark's arrival, very agenda driven when it comes to selecting her for the national team. And I have to think Dawn Staley is in that book as well, and she knows a bomb is about to drop when it comes to what she had to say, when it comes to her part in the Team USA national team. We know what she said publicly.
Just gotten information that completely changes the landscape of women's basketball. If you thought the Caitlin Clark story was finished, if you thought the conversation ended with the Olympic snub and the drama that defined the summer, that assumption was wrong. Completely wrong. Because what's coming out now from behind the scenes at USA Basketball isn't just chatter. It represents a major shift in thinking. The Caitlin Clark effect has finally broken through the walls of the establishment. What we're hearing points to a full-on reset. A reaction fueled by panic at the executive level and a realization that they simply can't afford to repeat the same mistake again, financially or culturally. This isn't exaggeration. What just happened changes everything. And that's not hype, that's reality. The performance Caitlin Clark delivered against the very people who kept her off the Olympic roster forced a move no one wanted to make. Today, we're breaking down the fallout, the quiet meetings, the concerns coming from major sponsors, and the new direction being mapped out for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. And this roadmap doesn't just include Caitlin Clark, it's built around her. The old power structure is shaking, the hierarchy is starting to crack. And all of it traces back to one player who refused to accept being dismissed. To understand why this is such a massive moment, you have to look at how things played out. For months, USA Basketball stuck to the same message. Wait your turn. Experience matters more than hype. They held that position even as ratings exploded, even as merchandise flew off shelves, even as fans made their frustration loud and clear. The belief was that the Caitlin Clark phenomenon would fade once the WNBA season settled in. They thought they could ride it out. Then the so-called revenge game happened. We talked about the game itself before, but the consequences are what really matter. When Caitlin Clark tore apart Cheryl Reeve's defensive system, it wasn't just a win. It exposed the flaw in the argument. It made the decision-makers look out of touch. According to people close to the situation, that was the breaking point. We're hearing that major broadcast partners, the ones funding these international events, made calls immediately after that game. The message was blunt. You're leaving money on the table and you're hurting the product. And when money talks, people listen. Right now, Caitlin Clark is the most valuable currency in the sport. So what's actually changing? The word behind the scenes is that the selection process for the next cycle, leading into the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics, is being completely reworked. The old committee system, which allowed personal bias and grudges to block emerging talent, is under review. There's talk of moving toward a more data-focused approach, one that prioritizes current impact over past reputation. This shift is a direct response to the Clark situation. They've realized you can't market a home Olympics in Los Angeles without the biggest star in the game. There's also fear inside the organization, and it's real. The fear is that if Caitlin Clark continues to feel sidelined or disrespected, she could simply opt out. Imagine the optics of a 2028 Olympics in LA without Caitlin Clark because she chose rest or personal projects instead. That would be a PR disaster on a historic scale. The power balance has flipped. USA Basketball needs Caitlin Clark far more than she needs them, and their behavior is starting to reflect that. There's another layer here too, and it's player-driven. For years, veteran voices controlled the culture. They set the tone, but younger players are watching closely. Players like Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, and others coming up alongside Caitlin are paying attention to how the face of the league was treated. There's a growing feeling that the old inner circle needs to be dismantled. What this development suggests is that the next Olympic roster won't just add Caitlin Clark. It will be shaped around her. That means designing the system to match her pace, her spacing, her vision. That's a massive departure from the rigid, fit nor sit out approach that's been preached in the past. It's an admission that the system was the problem, not the player. It's recognition that the traditional style of play is outdated compared to what Caitlin Clark is bringing to the game. Then there's the sponsor pressure. Companies like Nike, State Farm, and Gatorade have poured millions into Caitlin Clark. They weren't thrilled watching their biggest investment sitting at home during the Olympics. There's growing chatter that sponsor frustration has hit a boiling point. They want assurances. They want their star on the global stage. And it's very likely that this philosophical shift is the result of that external pressure. Olympic team selection may start looking less about coaching preferences and more about market reality. Some people will hate that idea, but the truth is professional sports is a business. And business is booming around Caitlin Clark while the old structure is stalling. This shift also puts Cheryl Reeve in an uncomfortable spot. If the organization is truly pivoting toward a Clark-centered future, where does that leave a coach who publicly dismissed hype and star power? It leaves her on the outside. We may be watching the slow end of a coaching philosophy that no longer fits where the game is headed. This isn't about one roster decision. It's about a regime change. It's a signal that women's basketball is entering a new era defined by pace, range, and star-driven appeal. Caitlin Clark didn't just force her way into the conversation. She forced an institution to confront its own blind spots. Looking ahead to 2028 in Los Angeles, the potential is enormous. A team built to run with her. Shooters spread across the floor. Athletic bigs who thrive in transition. A fast, explosive offense that overwhelms opponents. That vision excites executives and terrifies the rest of the world. But there's also skepticism. Is this change genuine, or is it damage control? Are they actually remorseful, or just embarrassed? USA Basketball isn't known for admitting mistakes. They'll frame it as evolution, as the game changing. But everyone knows the truth. This evolution has a name, a number, and it wears an Indiana Fever jersey. This shift is a surrender, a recognition that overwhelming talent can't be ignored forever. So what should Caitlin Clark do next? Should she accept the olive branch? Should she step into the role of savior for a program that left her out? That's the real question. If I were advising her, I'd make them be public about the commitment. I'd make sure the team is built to win, not to protect egos. This is her moment of leverage. She's never held more power than she does right now. She has the numbers, the money, and the moral ground. This development confirms she won without ever stepping onto the Olympic court. And in the end, this shift feels like vindication. It's proof that talent eventually overrides politics. It's proof that fans matter. Caitlin Clark has changed college basketball. She's changing the WNBA. And now she's reshaping the Olympic conversation. What happened in 2024 won't be remembered as a failure. It will be remembered as the catalyst for a necessary revolution. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think USA Basketball cleans house? Does Cheryl Reeve survive the next cycle? And should Caitlin Clark demand a public acknowledgement before putting on that jersey? Drop your thoughts below. This story is still unfolding and we'll be tracking every move. If you want to stay ahead of it, make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications, and like the video. We're watching the power shift in real time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.